This is a really quick overview on how to use a resource that's online to be able to identify native plants. This is going to ideally take some of the knowledge you may know about plant taxonomy and plant families, but if you don't, it still works out fine. So the site that I really like to use when I get some weird plant that somebody brings to me, or I take a picture and I want to know what it is I use calflora.org. The website for that is really easy. It's just calflora.org. When you get there, it's going to look something like this. A lot of the features on this site are probably not something you're going to need to use just to identify a plant. The two things that I look at primarily are either the button there on the side that's search for plants, or I use what grows here. I usually use search for plants if I have kind of an idea what I'm looking at. I just need to figure out which species, or what the scientific name might be. Maybe I know the family. I know some facts about it. If I really have no clue, I'm going to use what grows here, which is a map-based version. So I'm going to show you, demonstrate how the website works. To make this work, we're going to be picking a plant here. If you've seen any of the other Master Gardener training videos that I've done, you've probably recognized this picture. This is a plant that I showed in another slideshow. And we're going to identify this plant. This is a picture I took in Red Rock Canyon State Park on the way down south in April of 2024. I know what this plant is, but it's a pretty good example for being able to use the site because I know it works. So I also know that this plant is in the Onagraceae family because the flower parts are in fours, and the leaves are kind of in a whorl, the sepals are colorful. Plus, I mean, I happen to know, but looking at it, it's an evening primrose. So we're going to take that knowledge and we're going to use the Calflora site, and we're going to figure out what this plant is. All right, here we are at the Calflora website. This is the site that you need to go to. And we're going to start, remember we've looked at this yellow flower plant. We're going to be trying to identify where it is. So the first option I'm going to do is the search for plants type tool. So I'm going to click on the search for plants, and it's going to give me all sorts of characteristics that I can select that will help narrow things down. And so, because I know what family it's in and I know it's an evening primrose, they're kind of distinctive. I'm going to be able to use this pretty quickly to get to it. So Red Rock Canyon State Park is in Kern County, and I know it's an evening primrose, so I will be typing that in. I know that I took the picture in April. It's not going to make much difference in this case, but I can use all sorts of things like the elevation, the kind of plant community that's in, whether it's a grass or a tree or an herb, which is kind of most of the stuff that I want to identify, whether it's a true fern, that sort of thing. But I usually leave most of that off. I want to get enough hits that my plant has a pretty good chance of being there. If you really narrow it down, maybe you get it just right, but maybe there's not an observation in Kern County or something, and you're just not sure. So I try to leave it really broad, see what I'm going to get as hits, and if I get too many, then I might go back and narrow it down. So let's run this search and see what we get. Go to the top, I hit search, and I've got a whole bunch of plants that are going to go. I've got 12 matching records. There's lots of Camisonias that grow. And then here we go, Enotheras. Those are evening primroses. And I can scroll down. There's California evening primrose. It's kind of white or pink. I'll just keep on scrolling. And oh, look, there's something yellow. That looks like my plant. And in fact, that's it, Enothera primaveris. So I can click on this. It's going to show me where there are locations recorded for that plant in California. That doesn't mean it's the only places that it grow. That just means that's where somebody took a picture or noted an observation and it got recorded in the database. And I can look here at the pictures on the side, and I can find a bunch of things that look pretty similar to what I got there. So that's what this plant is. There's a really good looking one that looks like it. So I'm pretty confident that's the right identification. It blooms in April. So you can read more about the plant by scrolling down. It's going to have a link to the Jepson manual and tell you more about the plant. It tells you what community it's in. You know, that's a pretty accurate description of where I found the plant. So the other way that you can do this is by the what grows here technique. And here you're going to have a map of starts like where your current location is if you give it permission, or California, and you can scroll down to where you need to go. So we're going to make the big long drive down 395 and 14 to get down here. Keep on going, and here we go. We got Red Rock Canyon State Park. If you use the control key, you can zoom in or out. You know, you zoom in a lot, you may not get any hits. You zoom out too much, you get probably too much diversity in the landscape. So, you know, just do your best. So I'm going to click right there. You can here also add some search criteria to it, whether it's native or not. And, you know, you don't always know. You're trying to identify a plant. So I would skip that. But you can add the bloom month if you know it. And here I do. Go to the location filter, and I like in the map area. But you could also do the selected area too. If you know anything about the plant name, you can go ahead and click it. I'm not going to, so I can show you what kind of results that we get. And I go to the top and I hit search, and then down below everything you'll start getting stuff, and there's going to be a lot of plants. There's 354 plants that are going to be showing up, and you're going to have to scroll through a lot, right? There's a lot to get through on here, and so this can be kind of tedious, but I kind of feel like couple hundred is actually pretty reasonable. I mean, like, you're going through pretty quick, and you just kind of need to slow down on things that are yellow, right? If I'm looking at, you know, something like this, it's not the right plant. I can just keep on moving, like, oh, okay, here's a Centaurea. No, that's not it, right? So I can just keep on scrolling and scrolling. And we'll just keep on scrolling until we see something. There's a lot of plants that, you know, yellow. The Schultzias are not going to be it. Those are California poppies. And we keep on going. This is definitely tedious, but if you want to find it and you don't have any clue what you're looking at, this is kind of how it works. It's still faster than trying to get the big Jepson manual out and key your way from start to the end. And so, oh, look at Enotheras. Hey, there it is, right? So you can get to the plant that way. If, like I said, like with the other kind of searching, if you know any kind of facts about it, we can put things like it's an herb. We know the family on a Gracie, if you can spell it, you know, and then maybe do the search again, get a much smaller list of hits this way. So that was using the family, but you can also, if you can't spell on a Gracie or don't know that family, you know, you can try using the other search with a common name. There are plant lists. They don't usually help me with this. So maybe I know it's an evening primrose. And it does kind of help you with the spelling. You know, so I know it's an Enothera. And I can search. I get a lot fewer that way. So that's the gist of how you're going to do it. Just make sure that, you know, you, like you've just been using a key or anything, that you kind of confirm, read more about the plant, look at the pictures really carefully, compare what you have, and if all goes well, you got the right plant. So if you get a search and you don't see any kind of hits near where you are, or maybe you've searched a big area and you're only seeing that plant on the west side and you're on the east side, you probably have the wrong thing. So kind of use some judgment with that. But if you see a whole bunch of observations right where you are and the plant looks right, it's probably right. So there you go. That's Calflora. Give it a shot if you're trying to identify native plants. It's not the only tool that's out there, but it's the one that I like for California plants. I have some tips for you to use the site. So if you know anything about the plant you're trying to identify, maybe the plant family, or maybe you even just know part of the common name, it's going to really filter down and reduce the number of options that you have to scroll through. If you just go to a spot and pick a plant, we've got a lot of plants in California, and you may have 1,000 plants to scroll through. That's really not reasonable. So things that you can do to make that list smaller: know where you found the plant, and if you know where that spot is, you can maybe zoom in on the Grows Here tool, or zoom out to change how many choices you have. If you know the flowering time, that can help too. That will narrow out, fall bloomers versus spring. But it turns out in the desert, a lot of things all kind of flower at the same time, so it's not always the most helpful, but it's better than nothing. So you can give that a shot too. So know where the plant is, zoom in or out, note the flowering time, and if you can know any parts about the scientific classification, even if that's the common name, it may really help you out. So hopefully all of that helps you with plant identification. It's not necessarily easy, and worst case scenario, take a picture of it and ask someone in Native Plant Society, because they probably know it. Thanks.